Hey, hey, hey. Time for another out of this world story from rSpace. Wife is pregnant, baby might not be mine. With update. Not quite sure why I'm doing this. I've been drinking quite heavily for most of today, so if I stop making sense, you all understand why. I'm 40 male, and my wife is 38. She was always adamant that we wouldn't have children. I wanted them, but loved her more than the idea of becoming a father. We met when I was 20 and she was 18, and were married by the time I was 22. She came from a very privileged background, and her parents did not approve of me. They are of the opinion that she married below her social station. A few months ago, she visited her parents and her father bought her a new car. Her parents have serious money and I trusted her, so it wasn't something that I questioned. Plus, she's always received gifts from her father over the years. Why would this one be any different? A couple of weeks ago, she told me that she was pregnant and I was ecstatic, happier than I've ever been. But it didn't last long. I got a call from a friend and he told me that he'd seen her with her brother-in-law, sister's husband, while she was visiting her parents. She hadn't told me that she'd seen him. They've always had a weird dynamic that's made me uncomfortable, but I consoled myself with the view that she had chosen me. She could have been with him, but she had chosen me. My friend sent me some pictures and it changed things. The images showed a couple that were very close. The image showed them gazing and holding each other. The intimate gestures of one's familiar with each other. Her gazing at home with a look that I had hoped was reserved for myself. His hands in her hair as he kissed her. Turns out, it's more than likely he bought her the car. I confronted her about it, asked her what happened, but she lied. Told me she hadn't seen him. Told me that I should know the score between them, that she has to be civil. Very frickin' civil. I showed her the pictures and told her to leave. That was a week ago. Then I did the math in my head and realized the dates line up. This is a very real chance he might be the baby's father. Today I asked her for a DNA test, but she exploded that. The thought of subjecting her baby to a test. But without one, I'll never accept this child as mine. This whole ordeal has made me reconsider my marriage. Not only that, but how honest she's been throughout it. How many of the gifts that she's received over the years have actually been from her father? Has she just spread her legs for any man that's bought her something nice? Have I quite literally married a whore? I've sent her sister the pictures, not for any noble reason of thinking that she should know. I want to hurt my wife and brother-in-law, and that's the best way I know at the moment. On Monday, I think I'm going to talk to a lawyer and set the divorce proceedings in motion. Thank you for reading, and I'm sorry if this is a mess. My mental state isn't great, and I've had a lot to drink. Edit. Thanks for the support. Those that don't believe me, that's your prerogative. This is the internet, and I understand your skepticism. I need her permission for a DNA test, and she's made it clear that she won't give it. The next step is I get a divorce and lose half my stuff. Infidelity doesn't matter as much to the UK courts. Dyslexia and a high school alcohol level are responsible for any spelling and grammatical mistakes. Update. I've not spoken to my wife in close to 10 days. She sent me some messages and left voicemails, but I haven't responded to any of them. I made my position clear with her. When she agrees to a DNA test, I'll talk to her, but not before. I spent Christmas with a close friend and he gave me some advice about what to do with my future. I used to row and box in my early 20s and I plan to start doing that again. I'm also giving up alcohol for the foreseeable future. It doesn't do my mental state any good. I have an appointment with a lawyer and a therapist next week. I plan to get myself sorted mentally, emotionally, and legally so that I don't get screwed in the coming months. Whether or not I get divorced in the end, I need to know my options and the consequences. I've spoken to my sister-in-law on a few occasions, and she's going down a similar route to me and filing for divorce in the new year. Her and my brother-in-law have a daughter, so life's going to get quite complicated for them. If the baby turns out to be his, then they can have one really effed up family. I'm jumping from wanting the baby or not. If it's mine, then I get to be a dad, but my life gets seriously complicated. If it's someone else's, then I can be done with all of them and have a fresh start, but the thought that she'd have another man's child is profoundly depressing. If it's not my child, then I think I'll move somewhere else. Maybe apply for a work visa in America, transfer to one of the European branches of the company, or spend a few years living as a nomad traveling around the world. Haven't thought that far ahead yet, but I doubt I'll stay in the UK. If it is mine, then things will be much more complicated. I haven't told her about my plans for the future because at its current standpoint, she's not in them. That might change, but at its current standpoint, that's unlikely. As updates go, this one is probably disappointing, but it is what it is. If she agrees to a DNA test, then I'll provide another update, but at this point, that seems quite unlikely. First reaction from Opinionated in my opinion. At this point, if she agrees to the DNA test and the child is biologically yours, your relationship is still basically tarnished from the situation. Good luck, man. I've been there. You'll get through it. Little Law 3996 chimes in next. What is your wife's reaction to all of this? So did your wife or your brother-in-law confess to having sex with each other? The OP responds, they both denied having an affair and I only have circumstantial evidence. He's had affairs in the past and recent events have made me doubt my wife's honesty. Anyway, you're hardly going to admit you're screwing your sister's husband, are you? Next response from Switch SCE to Aux. There's a great song by the Rolling Stones called Time Is On My Side. It should be your new theme song. She can deny taking a DNA test while she's pregnant, but the delay on her part really is just the deadliest form of denial. After the child is born, you can challenge paternity and ask for the DNA test at that time. If it's yours, you'll have had the whole pregnancy timeline to initiate divorce proceedings and even negotiate a child care plan. If it's not yours, wish her luck, get on a plane, and get the hell away from there. Have the escape plan handy like Andy Dufresne in The Shawshank Redemption. You may have to climb through some crap to get to freedom, but it will be worth it. My guess is that she has a strong feeling that it's not your child, which is why she's panic, delay mode, etc. She's probably hoping to love bomb you and convincing you to raise his kid because babies are miracles, etc. And one little mistake shouldn't be a reason to end a great marriage, and other garbage statements that we can all predict from the playbook. Your sobriety challenge is a good one. Get in shape with your exercise, lose some weight, intermittent fasting and keto or diet are awesome. Do some hobbies, etc. Happy New Year! On to the next story. My infidelity story so far. Rant. Exactly 9 months ago today, I, 48 male, found out that my wife, 50-ish, of just under 18 years, had been cheating on me for a couple months. I found out when the wife of the man my wife was cheating on me with called me. She also sent me screen prints of quite a few texts between my wife and her husband. When I confronted my wife with this information and the texts, her response was, I effed up. We argued horribly for a week, maybe 2. I won't lie, I don't remember the period so well. I was seething mad. And eventually started marriage counseling and individual counseling. I wish I could say everything is great now, but I'd be lying. Has my wife cheated on me again since? I don't know. I don't think she has because she has been very transparent about everything she does, and I have free reign to go through her phone or social media accounts, etc. The problem? I just don't know how to trust someone that does something like that. I don't like or even want to go through her things. I don't think a couple should have so little trust. I won't sit here and pretend our marriage was great prior to the affair. We've both had issues, a lot of mine because I work so much in a job I'd prefer not to disclose. My wife has had issues with depression and we take care of her elderly mother, but no matter how rough things got, I always helped out. Hoped we, just like any other time, would get through it. Then, in one phone call, my world comes crashing down around me. Even 9 months later, sometimes I just start crying for no reason or I can't catch my breath. I get to retire in just under 3 years. We were making plans to cruise around the Caribbean and spend a few years traveling. Now I just don't know. The aforementioned texts were only from a couple days, and according to my wife, she was only intimate with her affair partner 3 times. I don't know, that doesn't make it any better. My wife has, to my knowledge, been as forthcoming as she could be. Our therapist said she has to answer every question I have truthfully, no matter how bad it made her look or how much she thought it would hurt me. I have grilled her more than once just to see if she is being truthful or has to remember which lie to tell. My wife swears she wants nothing more than to save our marriage. She seems genuinely remorseful for her actions, but I can't help wonder, is she remorseful of her actions or remorseful she got caught? The texts I saw are, to say the least, the most painful thing I have ever read. In them, her affair partner tells her he thinks his wife knows. My wife shows no concern at this point about me finding out and even suggests burner phones. There was a lot in those texts, and this is already getting long. Long story short, my wife only worried about me finding out when her affair partner's wife texted my wife and had told her she was going to tell me. Even then, it was please don't. My mom and kids live here. I don't know what will happen to us or where we'll go. Not please don't tell my husband. I don't want to lose him. When I have brought things like this up to my wife, she says that she doesn't want the affair partner's wife to know it would hurt her personally and was seeking sympathy from our kids. To which I respond, did you care about hurting her kid? Which of course doesn't go over well. As I said, we've been having issues for quite some time prior to the affair. For almost 3 years, we had barely been intimate, only here and there. This was her doing. I work odd hours, but she is a housewife. She slowly started sleeping later and later in the day and staying up late at night. By the time of the affair, we were lucky if we were intimate once a month. I should add, my wife has some issues with painful intercourse because of chemotherapy from years ago. Anyways, I was trying to be supportive, but yes, I was getting frustrated and would make snide remarks. I also suggested we could do other things. So now we get to my wife cheating on me because she thinks I only want her for sex. Which enrages me because who stays with someone for 20 years, total 18 married, just because they want sex? It also enrages me because a guy you barely knew, had met 3 months prior to the affair, and was married, starting giving you attention, and you think he didn't just want you for sex? Oh, and my wife at first said, "We didn't have sex." I said, "Okay, Bill Clinton." Anyways, that's the gist of my story. 9 months later, we are trying to reconcile, but I honestly don't know if I am capable of forgiving something like this. I have argued with my therapist and wife because they both use the word mistake. Now, I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed, but a mistake to me is when you try to do something expecting a result, a certain outcome, and you don't get the desired outcome. To which I respond, you knew you were married, you knew he was married to someone else. You still chose to engage in that disgusting behavior. Please explain exactly what the mistake was other than his wife caught your nasty behind. Don't get me wrong, I do still love my wife and probably will till the day I die. I, like an idiot, thought I had found my soulmate. Yes, we have had our ups and downs, but I thought we could get through anything together. My wife asked why we can't get through this together, which makes me say we should have been trying to get through all the other crap that led to you cheating. Instead, you chose to go through with it with someone else. I know I'm back and forth and most likely sound insane, but I do love her. I'm just so hurt that I don't know what I truly want. Sometimes I look at her and I think of how much I love her. Then other times, and it will be out of the blue, I look at her and I see a disgusting betrayer and am physically repulsed by her. I know quite often my anguish comes out as anger because things will be going good and out of nowhere, I will just start to feel numb towards her. I can literally be thinking something good about her and almost smile a little and wham, all of the crap from the texts, all of the arguments over the last 9 months, all the resentment for what she has done to us, our family, and me comes rushing through my mind. And in that instant, I hate her to her core. And it will only last for a few moments. The intense hatred, that is. But it will make my mind do a 180 and be like, nope, leave her. If anyone wants more details or updates, I'll do what I can when I can. I wasn't really looking for advice, just figured it is only fair I post my story since I've been lurking on and off of this Reddit pretty much since D-Day. First response from your dad, biatch. Time to get a new therapist and hire a lawyer. Dude, she doesn't care about you. Let's get it straight. Her first concern was her mother and kids, and it is true she was thinking aftermath of divorce and getting her things in order with a fair partner's wife. Brian McGee321 chimes in next. She thought you only wanted her for sex, but then she has an affair with a guy that only wanted her for sex. Cheater logic. Soul Survivor 54 chimes in last. My first fiancé claimed it was a great mistake. She admitted that she wavered, and I just said, that's fine, but I want nothing more to do with you. She was blindsided, and thought she could get away with anything. I proceeded to tear her a new one, and let her know that she was not what she thought. She was not nearly as attractive, she was not thin, she did not have a sparkling personality. Now that she had slept with a coworker, she was less than dog crap to me. And I let her know, and I let her mom know, and I let her siblings know. It was Christmas time, and her mother had put a lot into wedding planning. There was a lot of money tied up in deposits. I called her mother and told her that there was not going to be a wedding and that the daughter had an affair with a lowlife from work. Her mother demanded that we make up, as she could not bear to have a ton of money on the table. I told her mother that she could take it out of her daughter's butt. I got a call from my fiancé demanding the ring back so she could sell it to pay her mother off. I told her to get stuffed, that I was not going to be covering the financial fallout. She cried that it would take her years to pay her mom back. I said, boo hoo hoo. In the future, if you're planning a life commitment, it would be nice to really commit. As I hung up, I said I hope every penny hurts.